Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I bring to you the week that was in pro wrestling. And honestly, it was a pretty fun week. We had the return of a promotion for weekly stuff, the follow-up for a pay-per-view. It was all interesting. So sit back, relax, get yourself a snack, maybe something to drink, and let's do this. Now, obviously, for this week, once again, I'm not covering Monday Night Raw because I instead watched the Home Run Derby, which was a lot of fun. So instead, I'm starting with, of course, the restart of the weekly shows for NWA Power. That's right, the NWA has come back. And we start off with a little tag team action playa as the Brothers of Funstration, that's Yabo and Ruffo the Clown, take on the NWA World Tag Team Champions, La Rebellion, who is now being managed by Vampiro, which is an interesting pairing. This match starts out as, straightforward as it gets, although one of the clowns shot a little water at one of La Rebellion from a flower, which got a kick out of me, I will say that. And then, right off to wrestling, La Rebellion did dominate for a lot of this match, but then for whatever reason, Vampiro kept getting in the ring. Looks like he was going to hit somebody, but thankfully that did not happen. Then after a roll-up, after the latest Vampiro interference, your winners, the Brothers of Funstration, which is interesting. It looks like they're going to be getting a tag team title shot in the near future. Maybe at NWA 75, perhaps? I'd be cool with that. Next up, we got Ricky Morton, the living legend, taking on Koa Laxmana. I do hope I'm pronouncing that right. Before the match starts, Koa's manager puts lays on Ricky Morton, which gets a little rile out of his son ringside. Pretty decent back and forth bout between the two. Kerry keeps going for Koa's manager at ringside, which that's a little creepy. Please stop doing that. Then as Koa is going for a big, I want to say it was either a drop kick or like a big boot or something, Kerry pulls on his leg, and that leads to a destroyer by Ricky Morton, and he picks up the victory. We then get a dual backstage interview segment between Colby Corino and Samantha Starr. They're both third-generation wrestlers, and they're ready to hold gold in the NWA. And Colby has to go through Alex Taylor, while Samantha Starr is looking at the NWA Women's TV title. So, we'll see what goes on there. Next up, in an odd matchup, you have the Great Zion, who is now managed by God, I forget his name, as he takes on Rolando Freeman. And honestly, at first, this was Zion's night, but then Rolando did fight back a little bit, but ultimately, after an arm breaker, which is like, dang, that looked like it hurt, your winner via submission, the Great Zion. So, we'll see what happens from here. We get a little interview / I don't really know what to call this. It's like a on the street TV segment with Danny Dios, which is an interesting choice. He interviews Mario Lamera, whom I think is a new name to at the NWA. He's going to be next in line for the TV title. But then, I believe that was one of Pretty Empowered in there. Pretty much saying, yeah, you missed out on a great deal. Instead, you interview this guy. Yeah. We then get a normal backstage interview by the Southern Six. That's Kerry Morton, Thrillbilly Silas Mason, and Alex Taylor. They all pretty much have business in the NWA. They're ready to settle, including Thrillbilly Silas getting another shot at EC3's national title, which we're going to get into that one. And rent is due. So, yeah, that's interesting interview. We'll see how that goes. Next up is an 8-woman tag team match, playa, as the NWA World Women's Champion Camille teams up with M95, the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, and Ruthie J taking on 3/4 of Pretty Empowered and Natalia Markova, which is a very interesting combination. Yeah, everyone worked really, really well in here. Especially Markova and Camille, who we're going to be seeing them in a match again for the women's title at NWA 75. That should be a good one. And then after a destroyer, which is an interesting move by Natalia Markova, your winners, Markova and Pretty Empowered. So we'll see where this goes. Next up, backstage interview with the Country Gentlemen, the NWA United States Tag Team Champions. And they're getting ready for... They're excited to see the winners of the United States Tag Team Title Tournament, which that should be a fun one. But we're going for a palate cleanser coming up when Odinson and Jordan Clearwater team up. And they're going to show that the Country Gentlemen are on top. And final for Power. You got the NWA National Heavyweight title on the line as Thrillbilly Silas Mason takes on EC3. And it was kind of a repeat of NWA 312 when Silas, first challenge. No, it was the Crockett Cup. That's what it was. The NWA Crockett Cup where Thrillbilly runs through EC3 for a bit. Then EC3 dives out of the ring. Gets Pollo Del Mar between him and Silas. But instead of hesitating, Thrillbilly runs through both Pollo and EC3 ringside. Looks like he's set up for the thrill ride. That's countered. Then, once again on the EC3, then rolls out again, gets the national title. Looks like he's going to hit Thrillbilly with it. Pollo Del Mar then gets up on the apron, and they have a little tug-of-war. Then Thrillbilly pushes Pollo off the apron. EC3 with a big belt shot. And, after a roll-up, your winner, still national champion, EC3. And as he's celebrating, he just drops the title, indicating that he's relinquishing the title to go after Tyrus. And I'm going to tell you, that does not sound like an appealing match to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I like EC3. He's an interesting character. He's definitely not the best wrestler in NWA. That's for sure. So, more than likely, he's going to be fed to Tyrus. So, we'll see what happens there. Overall, a very fun episode of NWA Power. Glad they're back in action. And now we go to AEW Dynamite, in which we start off with Chris Jericho taking on Coleman Dutter. And honestly, these two styles did not work well together. Jericho is definitely looking a lot slower than he's been. Commander definitely messed up on his own right as well. But after a Miss Judas effect, and which then gets counted into a Lion Tamer, your winner, Chris Jericho. And this leads out Don Callis as Jericho's celebrating. And he pretty much says, look, you've had a week. Are you going to join the Don Callis family? Jericho is like, yeah, I still got some things to think about. And I want to go over it with my current crew, the Jericho Appreciation Society. We'll get to that little bit of the drama in a minute. So, then we get a Jack Perry interview in which he's just sitting in his car, citing, yeah, these are unsafe work environments. I don't want to be chased by Hook anymore. I just want to get in the ring and wrestle. Then over Jungle Boy's shoulder, coming in through the other side door, is Hook. He tries to get his hands on Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy leaves the car for a minute. Hook tries to follow him, but then Jungle Boy just dives back into his car and they drive off. In which that leads to that leads to that little fun segment in which Hook pretty much says his first words on screen, "Keep running, Jack," which, yeah, that's interesting. Then it is revealed that Don Callis will go out on his own to reveal the 5th member of the Blood and Guts team for the Blackpool Combat Club. That's going to be a little bit interesting too. Pretty much saying, yeah, Omega is hiding. I'm not afraid of Omega. He's pretty much hiding behind the Young Bucks and the Elite. So I'm not afraid to go out there alone. Next up, we get, honestly, one of the most entertaining things on the show. We get MJF and Adam Cole sitting in a bar. They're taking shots. At one point, MJF asks again, "Oh, where's your custom shirt I made?" Yeah. And Adam Cole pretty much says, "Yeah, I left it at home. Maybe next time." And then these ladies walk up. MJF is like, "Yeah, how about this? 2 for me, 2 for you. What do you think?" Then Adam Cole pretty much says, "Yeah, I care too much about Britt Baker. She's my everything." And then MJF says, "Hey, more for me." He goes up to the ladies and he does the deed, if you know what I mean. Then we get a MJF coming back to Adam Cole. Adam Cole says, "Yeah, I got something to tell you. I didn't lose the shirt, and I'll put it on right away. However, we're going to do what I want to do." In which MJF says, "All right, what do you want to do?" Whispers in his ear, "No, And next thing we know, we're in Adam Cole's house, and they have AEW Fight Forever on the screen. And they start playing as one another. And then MJF pretty much says, "Yeah, these games are more fun with friends. I just realized that." And Cole looks at him and says, "Have you never played a multiplayer game before?" And that just breaks my heart, because I can definitely, I get it. So, anyway, Then it's revealed that Adam Cole was going to end up betraying MJF, in which MJF reveals, yeah, same. So instead, let's get on the same page and let's win the tag team titles. And then they win them in the game, which is honestly kind of funny foreshadowing. So, yeah, I do like that segment. Easily one of the best things on wrestling today. We then go into this very interesting match, the other bracket for the tag title tournament, as Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin team up to take on Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. And ooh boy, does this get started right off the bat, with Cassidy and Darby Allin maintaining control for a little bit, but then Daniel Garcia starts cutting corners, in which Guevara isn't really into it, but then he's like, okay, if this means we're gonna win, fine. Then about near the end of the match, Prince Nana, for whatever reason, comes out. He grabs Darby Allin's skateboard, slides it to Guevara, who pretty much looks at it, slides it the other way, and then a chop block by Swerve Strickland on Darby Allin, which then leads to the GTH by Guevara, and your winners moving on in the tournament, Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. We then get our second Nick Wayne vignette, going to a little more of his history before AEW, in which, yeah, that was honestly, that's something I think Nick Wayne really needed. He's a kid. He's 18 now. I think he just turned 18 on Monday, which is insane to think about. But, yeah, I'll talk about his match in like 2 minutes. Next up, we got the other half of the tag team title tournament, as Brian Cage and Big Bill team up to take on MJF and Adam Cole, baby. In which, to start off, MJF tries to body slam Big Bill, and looks like he pulled out his back. He goes to leave. Adam Cole grabs him and he's like, hey, you can do this. We can do this. Let's go back in there and get him. Some really good tags in and out. Some really, really good. Everyone looked really, really good in this matchup. MJF and Cole then try for the double clothesline. That gets ultimately broken up. And then after a couple of super kicks, a heat seeker, and the boom, your winners, Adam Cole and MJF. Cole then gets a mic, pretty much puts over the shirts that you can now buy them at AEW.com. I will not be buying them. Cole then pretty much says, yeah, I didn't have any high expectations for this team. Matter of fact, I was going to get going while the getting was good. But now I've come around on this team. Not only are we going to win the tournament, but then we're going to win the tag team titles. Which, yeah, that'd be interesting. We then get a Jake Hager, Chris Jericho kind of confrontation interview, in which Hager pretty much asks, look, I know you're going through a little bit of a rough patch right now, but we need to get on the same page. Are you going to stay with the JAS, or are you going to go to the Don Callis group? Jericho pretty much says, yeah, I don't know. Still got to think about that. And Jake Hager brings up his and Jericho's history together, even before AEW. And pretty much says, yeah, this isn't just your career on the line. It's mine too. Be straight with me. Jericho then goes, in which Hager takes off his bucket hat, and drops it on the ground and leaves. And wait, honestly, that's the first time in a very long time I've actually cared about Jake Hager. No offense, he's a heck of a talent. He's been a little bit bland for me, even before AEW. So, it's good to see a little emotion out of him. Next up, the semifinals for the Women's Owen Hart Cup, as we got Ruby Soho taking on Sky Blue. And of course, we got the usual Outcast interference try, but eventually the ref threw them out, so it's a true one-on-one. And really good back and forth. Sky Blue goes for the code blue, but that gets blocked. Into the Boston Crab, in which we get in the ropes. Sky Blue with the Skyfall for a 2 count. Into the No Future for the Ruby Soho win. We then get the weirdest segment maybe ever, as we get the QTV world premiere of Harley Cameron's rap class video, which honestly, I know a lot of people didn't really like it, but I dug it. Like, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are thinking, but I really dug it. Like, I think she's got some talent. Maybe the Acclaim should let her in. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Maybe not really, but, you know, that was pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, we got the AEW debut of Nick effin' Wayne taking on Swerve Strickland. Now, it has been revealed that these two have fought each other before in Defy, which is a little independent promotion that I believe Nick Wayne signed his contract in, which is pretty cool. And honestly, the chemistry between these two are just, it's delicious. It's great. A lot of good back and forth, a lot of other stuff going on. Of course, you got Nana ringside. But then after a Wayne's World into a 2 count, a powerbomb off the top, a last call, and a JNL driver, your winner, Swerve Strickland. And yeah, that was our main event match, which was very, very good. I am very excited to see what Nick Wayne has up his sleeve going forward. And fine a la Mo. We got the Don Callis interview. Pretty much runs down Kenny Omega, calls him a coward. This, of course, brings out Omega, who's looking right towards Don Callis. And from behind, we got the return of the bastard, Pac. The Pac is back. He gets on the mic. Pretty much says, "You have no idea how long I've waited to do this to you. Oh, and for blood and guts, I'm the 5th man." Then Omega, while getting choked out by pretty much the Blackpool Combat Club, he pretty much says, "Hey, guys, take a look at the screen." And then lights go out. He's coming. And then, of course, it is revealed Kota Ibushi is the 5th man for the Elite for Blood and Guts. And if you don't know who Kota Ibushi is, he and Omega in Japan were a tag team called the Golden Lovers. And then at All In, Kota Ibushi teamed up with the Young Bucks to form the Golden Elite, which in that match, that was the main event match, and it also included Rey Mysterio. Go take a look. It's awesome. Then we got the Blackpool Combat Club out. Lights go back on. The Elite are in the ring. Super kicks for all. And then Omega gets on the stick. Don, this isn't just about who's the better team. It's about heart, soul, and friendship, which that's cheesy as heck, but I love it. And then Callis, "You will never win this war." And then when the rest of your boys are taken out, that's when I'm coming for you. And yeah, that ends Dynamite. I'm really hyped for it. And even though I saw it coming from a mile away, I am so happy Kota Ibushi's coming. He is the perfect fifth man for the Elite. Alright, that is Dynamite. We are almost done as we move into Impact Wrestling. And the go-home show to Slammiversary. And we start off white hot as Zachary Wentz making his in-ring return for Impact, taking on one half of the Impact World Tag Team Champions, Chris Bay. And at first, this was pure X Division goodness. At times you had Trey Miguel trying to interfere, but then Ace Austin got involved. Kind of nearish the end of the match, Trey and Ace start fighting on the outside of the ring. Trey Miguel then slams Ace Austin into the announcer's table. And that leads to a massive swinging DDT for the winner for Zachary Wentz, which then leads to a backstage segment with Santino and Scott D'Amore. The Rascals roll up, pretty much say, yo, Zach won his match. Now we are in the tag team title match at Slammiversary, right? No, I never. Santino retorts, no, I never said you would be added to the match if you won this match. We then get a nice little vignette of the Slammiversary main event, which is the Nick Aldis versus Alex Shelley for the world title. Cannot wait for that. Next up, we got a little bit more X Division goodness as Kevin Knight takes on Speedball Mike Bailey. And, I don't know how I can describe this match, but I'm going to say it's X Division done absolutely perfectly. Kevin Knight with some of the most crisp drop kicks you will ever see. Mike Bailey doing his best to get his offense in, but Kevin Knight is too fast. Then after the tornado kick, the Ultima Weapon, which is my favorite finisher of 2023. Your winner, Speedball Mike Bailey. We then get a Masha Slamovich Killer Kelly vignette, pretty much saying, Coven, this is a warning. At Slammiversary, we take the Knockouts tag team titles, in which, yeah, I'm down. Next up, we got tag team action, playa. As we got Joe Hendry and Yuya Uemura taking on Kenny King and Sheldon Jean. Now, most of the match, Kenny King has a hooded sweatshirt on because, well, it's been revealed he used to strip, so he doesn't want to play into that. Eventually, Joe Hendry rips the sweatshirt off. A lot of, honestly, really good back and forth, especially between Gene and Yuya. Those two work really, really good together. But then after a standing ovation, your winners, Yuya Uemura and Joe Hendry. We then get a nice vignette for Lio Rush versus Chris Sabin for the X Division title for Slammiversary. We then get a Chris Sabin interview, pretty much saying, Rush is one of the most talented wrestlers in the world, but he thinks he's the main character, and he's pretty much jumped from promotion to promotion. And he thinks he's the cheat code to get the front of the line to get to the title. Well, now you gotta face the final boss. And at Slammiversary, I'm gonna humble you. Which, shout out to Iron Sheik. Next matchup, we got Moose and Brian Myers taking on Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. This match was a lot of fun. Like, while these two are a couple of Franken teams, it does make sense for them to be going up against one another, and then they're also in the 4-way for Slammiversary. And honestly, I think Sami Callihan and Rich Swann were the more coherent team. They worked really well together. Not saying Moose and Myers didn't, but I thought Swann and Callihan were a bit more crisp with their moves. But ultimately, after a spear, a low blow into a spear, your winners, Moose and Brian Myers, which pretty much tells me, yeah, they're not winning on Saturday. We get the fourth team in that Fatal 4-Way as Subculture have a little promo, pretty much saying, yeah, we're getting another shot at Slammiversary. We're doing it for every subculture everywhere. We're fighting from the bottom. We're going to be at the top, which are the Impact Tag Team Championships, in which I love Subculture. Subculture, I think, is up there as one of my favorite tag teams, maybe in the world. We then get an Angels promo in which he's bringing up back kind of his old gimmick, like he's going to have the wings on his tights again. Pretty much saying, I felt pushed aside the last couple months, but now I get to spread my wings and fly. And while winning is good, it's not going to be enough. I want to feel something. I'm more than just a guy. I'm a celestial, which, that's a great line. I'm sorry, that's awesome. We then get another extended Nick Aldis versus Alex Shelley vignette. And then in our main event, with the Knockouts title on the line, it's Deonna Purrazzo issuing an open challenge to any knockout, ready to go. And who answers the call? Jody Threat. Stepping up really well. And at first, this match felt a little clunky, but eventually they got into sync with one another, and honestly, it was a great old bout. Then Purrazzo trapping Threat in the Venus de Milo for the submission win and the retention of the title. So we will then be seeing Trinity versus Purrazzo for the Knockouts title. Then we get the Shaw Taraj. That's Giselle Shaw, Jay Vidal, and Savannah Evans come out. They attack both of them. This brings out the Death Dolls. That's Jessica and... why am I forgetting her name? Pretty much Rosemary coming out, making the save. This brings out the Coven. This brings out Slimovich and Killer Kelly. And this is just a big old brawl where finally Trinity comes out, joins in. This brings out to security to try to break everyone up. In the ring, only two, Trinity and Purrazzo. They have a little stare down. They both pick up the Knockouts title. And then they just start hammering each other. They're ready for a fight. And that pretty much ends the show with a full rundown of the Slammiversary event, which I am very excited for. I hope you all are too. And finally, we got MLW Fusion, the last promotion I'm going to cover for today, thank goodness. As we get an Alex Kane press conference, pretty much saying, yeah, everyone's been putting me down. Everyone said I couldn't do it. But with every barrier MLW and everyone else puts up, I break it down. And then he talks directly to Hammer. Hammer, you haven't earned my respect, but I took the keys by force, and if you want to step up again, I'll gladly take you down again. Next up, we got a Taya Valkyrie promo, pretty much saying, yeah, Delmi, it's rematch time. You still underestimate me, but I created my own path here. I'm never going to give up, but I also leave bodies everywhere I've been. And I'm the craziest you're ever going to meet. Which then leads into the MLW Featherweight Women's title match, as Taya Valkyrie takes on Delmi Exo, and it starts with a big old hockey fight. Eventually, Taya does overpower Delmi, but then Delmi fights back a little bit more. Plenty of counters to the Delmi driver and Road to Valhalla. Eventually, Delmi Exo does a takedown into an armbar, which she absolutely locks in. So your winner by submission, Delmi Exo, still MLW Featherweight Women's Champion. We then get a kind of interview with Court Bauer, who is the owner of MLW. He's just walking out of his office, pretty much says, never do business with a crook like Don King. And if you missed it, it's revealed that the man behind the Bumaye Fight Club was in fact Don King. So that's funny as heck. We then get to the third round of the MLW Open Draft, as O'Shea Edwards is officially signed to MLW. And he's pretty much signed to the Bumaye Fight Club. So that's going to be interesting to see what this monster can do. Next up, we got an MLW Challenge match, as we got Ken Broadway taking on TJ Crawford from Creator Pro. And honestly, this was a nice, fun, back and forth contest. Really high energy. Both had really good chemistry with one another. And then, after a Travis Plex, which is an interesting name for a finish, your winner, Ken Broadway. It is then revealed we are getting the Opera Cup tournament once again, and it's only 2 matches. Well, 3 matches. 2 semis and a final. In one semi, we have Calvin Takeman taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr. In the other, a bit of familiar foes, especially in Ring of Honor. You got Tracy Williams versus Tony Deppett. And finally, we got our main event of the evening, where the winner gets a shot at the MLW World title. Before the match goes on, it's revealed that Mance Warner is sitting on commentary. And our main event match, you got Leo Rush taking on John Hennigan, taking on Willie Mack. And at first, Rush and Hennigan take out Willie Mack for a bit. Then they turn on one another. Some really good back and forth between all 3 of these guys. Taya Valkyrie does try to get involved, but she gets knocked off the apron. And then after a bunch of stunners and a roll-up, your winner, Willie Mack, getting his first world title shot in quite a while. I am excited for that. I hope you all are too. And that does it for me for this week in wrestling. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this first half of the week in pro wrestling. Let me know your favorite match, your favorite segment. Really, anything at all in the comments down below. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody.